everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is February's, yes, we're in March, February's video, whip update and haul. First of all, I can't even tell you what happened this morning, what's happened this morning, how my day's gone already. It is 11:30 on the 1st of March. And as you can see, we've got a really horrible wet day in Georgia. Let me paint the scene for you. Imagine you have a lovely RV and it's all very nice and cozy, and you go to pull some bits out, some cross stitch, and then you realise that one of your cross stitch patterns is soaking wet, and then another one is soaking wet, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. And every single cross stitch project that was not in one of my big Omnic frames and not in, you know, one of those scroll frames, but also those projects that were on top of other projects were unaffected. However, I have sprung a leak. Now, this wouldn't have been so bad. However, when we had the last downpour, the real downpour, I had exactly the same situation. I had loads of projects, and I don't know, I think I found where the source is. I thought I found where the source was last time. So originally my cross stitch projects were on the ground, on the floor, like actually this corner over here. And they were on like a towel just to protect them from the floor. And what happened was I pulled a cross stitch project out and it was soaking wet. And then I pulled another one out and that was soaking wet. And then another one and another one. And I just, the first time I went through it with regards to thinking that all my projects were ruined. In fact, one of them I threw away. I restarted because it was, and I'll explain that in a minute, because it wasn't one that I'd actually done a lot of work on. But then I realised actually you can wash them. As you can tell in this corner here, that is a towel on my window. My window leaks. And also on the other side, so I thought that that was the source of the first flood that came through. That was the source of like where all the water issues was. So I need to get that sorted out, and I will. So then what I decided to do is put my cross stitch projects on a box and put them in the same place, but I knew that they were off the floor. So in my mind, I thought, okay, well, they're protected. No. So what happened this time is that the box lid, where for some reason the water's coming through the wall, and I have no idea why, it's coming through like underneath the window, through the wall. All of the water was just pooling on top of the lid of that box that I put all my cross stitch projects on. So I've just gone through it all over again to wash all my projects. So I originally was going to upload a video on how you deal with projects that have been ruined pretty much with, I mean, a lot of, because the water is, well, because the floor originally in that area doesn't really get a lot of cleaning just in that area. First time round, the projects were a bit minging. And if I remember, actually I'll make a note of this when I go to do my editing. I'll pop a few videos in of what they look like. Videos of ruined projects. So I thought, because I'd gone through all that and it was a bit of a moment, that originally I was going to do a whole cross stitch YouTube video on what to do if your projects get wet or ruined or anything. Now this time round, because it was basically clean water, because the water was pooling on top of the boxes, or the box lid, the water was all clean. However, I just don't like the idea of rainwater being on like projects, so I clean them all. So I am so pleased that you cannot see what is going on in this area down here and on the sofa over here, or over here, like that way. It is just an absolute show of projects that are out of frames that are all over the place. I've got Q-snap frames all over the floor where I've taken all of my projects out to wash them. I have washed them this morning. Now, because it's pissing down with rain today, I've not been able to dry them. Now, first time round, I washed them, and then when I dried them on the line with the offside, so the back facing the sun, so that just in case, I mean, you don't really get bleaching in, 10 minutes, but it was so warm that day that my projects were literally dry within 10 minutes. And I didn't spin those, stupidly. So I've got like a little spin top thing, but I'll explain in a bit. So this time round, I decided to soak my cross-stitch projects in very, very, very cold water, because the other issue I had was that, God, I don't know what's going on with my hair today. Pretty much all of my projects, unless they were or are samplers, they are all gridded. So I obviously was stressing, thinking, right, if I wash my projects, I'm going to wash all the gridding out. Oh my God, literally, when you have no idea how I felt when I found out that all of my projects that had been affected were just gross and damaged and horrible. So I basically, the first thing I did is I took one project, the project that this is the smallest, that had the smallest amount of work on, and I tried that in my washing machine first. And all I did is fill it up with very, very cold water, and I used this. Now, these are Tide Pods, and it's cold water clean. Now, these are very, very gentle. So it says here, free and gentle. You don't want to use any detergent that is like harsh. And so I needed a detergent that was gentle, but also one that would work in cold water, because I have never washed any of my projects yet. So I had no experience on whether my threads were going to run, because I use CXC threads, whether I was going to have an issue with my gridding going, whether actually anything was even going to get clean. But thankfully, all of the projects that I put into water for half an hour, I literally just soaked them in there for half an hour, and then so the first time round, I soaked them for half an hour, and then I kind of try to get rid of like some of the water, so I kind of scritched the water out. And then just really wet, I then put them on the line outside. This time round, I was doing those individually as well. This time round, I bung them all in one soak. I think there was like, how many were affected? 5 or 6. And then I have got, and I haven't got it with me, but when I order my fabric from Wool Warehouse, it comes in like a netted bag, like a really pretty, it's like a pretty netted bag. So this time round, individually, I was taking them out of the soak, and then I was putting them in the spinner in the bag, and then I was spinning it for 5 minutes, and then ironing them dry. So on the back, I was ironing them. Now, my setting for my iron was like linen cotton, so pretty hot, you're pretty up there, but just make sure that you don't burn your fabric when you iron it. And I did iron it on the back, because also I didn't know if the hot setting was going to affect my CXC thread, which it didn't, which is good. So that's how my morning went. I actually was going to upload a video on a how-to with regards to like when your cross stitch gets wet or damp or whatever, to clean it. But you know what? I've had a morning of it, and I just thought, just put it in this video because it's going to take 10 minutes to explain, isn't it? So with that said, I did get some stitching done. Where should we start? I haven't got a lot of haul. Actually, I haven't got hardly anything. However, I really need some decent scissors. So I bought these scissors on Amazon. So this pair is like slightly pinkish. Can't really see in this light. Slightly pink. I don't know if you can see. No. And this is a real funky pair of scissors. So I wanted the pink ones, but then I saw these and I was like, I want those as well. So I thought, you know what, buy both. That's kind of what I'm like. I'm the sort of buy a handbag in every single colour kind of girl. So yes, I really wanted some sharp scissors, and I have found in the past that the not the swan ones, what are they? Are they swan, you know, the stalk scissors, they just blunt so quickly and so easily. So I thought I would go for these. And in fact, the reason I went for something like this is because the best scissors I've ever had, I swear down, were the scissors that my dad let me borrow from his first aid kit. He had like this little first aid kit, and these scissors, these would be perfect on a plane because they kind of like fold in. So these bits fold in and then the handles fold round, so you can't, they're like end up being this big and you can't even tell that they're scissors. So they'd be great to take on a plane. But in the end, Dad was like, Holly, like, can I have them back now? You've had them for about 1.5 years, and he's a little bit like me. He's a bit like, he likes everything as it should be. You know, everything has got its place, and if anything's missing, he stresses out big time. A bit like I get that from him, I think. So, right, so that was the reason why I went for those scissors, and actually they're proving to be really, really good. I got them on Amazon. I think I just put in sewing scissors or cross stitch scissors or something like that. But yeah, I wanted to, oh no, actually I put sharp scissors, sharp cross stitch scissors or something like that, and they came up on Amazon. You'll be able to find them. Okay, so let's get into some of what I have been doing today, or this month today. We all know what I've been doing today, which wasn't planned. No siree. So I think going forward, just going back to my projects, I just cannot wait to get out this RV. I've outgrown it. All of these boxes here are absolutely full with just cross-stitch stuff. They are full to the brim. In fact, they're actually breaking because I've got so much crap in them, and I just cannot wait. I cannot wait to be able to build my house so I can have a craft room, and in that craft room I'm going to have a massive walk-in wardrobe, which is going to be storage for everything. So I think this time round I did have, you can't see it, but I'm not even shifting the camera down because it's just shit show on the floor right now. But I did have some big boxes that originally were where my storage for my floss was. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to put all of my cross stitch projects in boxes that are airtight, watertight, everything tight, so that then when I'm not going to come across this again. Now, funnily enough, those projects which I explained earlier that were actually in frames, you know, the Omnic frames and the scroll frames, were unaffected because they were up a bit, you see. And also my fabric, because they're up a bit and then my fabric doesn't start until like 3 or 4 inches from the edge, or 1 inch from the edge, they were completely unaffected. So I just need to get the wall fixed somehow. Well, I do, but Dad has also said that he thinks it's a good idea that I actually just get a roof for this thing, you know, like a shelter thing, so that when it rains it doesn't all come down on the ceiling. This RV is not totally watertight and it's a nightmare. I've got, when it really rains, the ceiling leaks through there, the ceiling leaks in my and where my shower is. I've got a towel down there because the window leaks there, and now I've got an issue with the wall on this side. Man, I'm so fed up with being here right now. But at least it's not a tent, hey? At least it's not a tent. Right. Let's go through some stitching, shall we? What way am I going to do this? Do you know what? I think I'm just going to do it in the order of the mess that I've got on my sofa right now. So I worked on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 projects. And one of those is a new start. Yes, I know, sue me. Can't. I know. I just really needed to start this project. My threads arrived and I just needed to start it. So I did. Right. So the first one I'm going to show you is Delightful Waltz. So this is one that came up last month actually, but it was coming up this month and last month. So what I did is I saved it till this month so I can do all of it together. And I've actually done that with another project, funnily enough, which I'll explain in plans. So Delightful Waltz is this beauty. I did actually get the smaller one. Oh gosh, it started to rain again. I did actually get the smaller one. However, I decided to kind of ditch that and I've got the bigger one instead. I've started the bigger one. I just much prefer it. As I've got a bit of a mess going on at the moment, I am going to do a whip parade straight after this. So yes, you're going to see me in exactly the same clothes. Because this just seems to be the best time to do a whip parade because I've just got like an absolute mess. And then once my whip parade's done, then I can put everything away and I know what I'm doing and I can reorganize myself again. And I don't have to get everything out again to do a whip parade because I'm very aware that I haven't done one yet. So first one is Delightful Waltz by Artisy. This one is being stitched on 20 count 1/1. Now, I think this time round, I am going to do like, this is where it was last time, but I'm going to have the two on the screen together rather than flipping, if that makes sense, from one screen to another. Not one screen, but you know what I mean. Instead of it flipping to, oh, this is what it looked like last time, I'm just going to have the two together so you can see. I think it just looks better. So this is where we are, and this is where it was. So, God, I wish this rain would stop. Okay, I might have to stand up for this one. I'm not actually sure how this is going to work. So maybe I have to go back here then. Right. Yeah, not really sure how this is going to work with the kind of before and after. I'll show you a closer version in a sec. So I think I pretty much worked on this area here. Yeah, not much in this area, but it was pretty much all over here. So on this one I did 645 stitches and I'm at 3.61%. So if I come back here, then you'll be able to see the other one. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. These are all I'm doing with all of the called for threads, but I use CXC threads, not DMC. I just find the quality a lot better than DMC. It's just a personal preference, isn't it? And at 8 cents a skein, you can't go wrong, can you? Okay, so the next one I'm going to show you is one of my favorites. It's Pink Peonies. This one is charted by me. She says, and you can get it out. Pink Peonies. Beautiful. Absolutely love the colour. Now, for this one, I might have to do this is what it looked like before, this is what it looks like after, because this is a humongous project. And it's also on a humongous frame. And I did, where's my pen? 534 stitches on this one, and I'm at 2.10%. Now, I did almost 6,000 stitches this month, which for me is quite a lot, but I know it's a bit of a joke really, considering some people are doing like 20,000 plus. But anyway, oh my goodness, so this is on an Omnic frame. So this is where you saw it last time. And this is where we are now. Now, I don't know if I can see my hand. Where's my hand? There we are. So this bit here was the part that got most of the work, actually all of the work. Obviously, I've been parking all my threads over here. Really, really pleased with how this is coming. I'm doing a kind of, I think I'm going to start over here and like stepping it down so it looks nice. That's the reason why it's looking like this at the moment. So this has been stitched on 20 count 1/1 CXC threads, all the call for colours. But yeah, I love this one. I really do. And I do need to get a jog on with that one, because that is also a very big project. It's one of the biggest projects. I have got one that is just ridiculously humongous. Okay, the next one I worked on is Story Key Life is an Open Book, Paris. This one is, the artwork is by Amy Stewart, and this is a Heaven and Earth design. Really pretty. Love this one. I'm stitching this one on 18 count 2/1 full cross. I'm doing it with all of the called for threads CXC, and what? That's it. I'm doing it with all of the called for flosses CXC colours. So this is one of the ones that got ruined last time. So I'll see again if I can pop in the video of this one. So this is the next one I'm doing. I've just taken the bobbies off, but in hindsight, I think I'm just going to put the bobbies back on. And what I did find with the peacock one is it frayed loads on the outside. Now, and it's not too much of a problem because I still have a lot of border and I can just cut the fraying off. However, I do have projects that are very close. So I'm going to try actually just soaking this and see what happens. I'm just going to soak it. This isn't stained, it's just really wet and horrible, and you know, it hasn't stained, but it's just horrible water, and you know, it's damp, and if I don't clean it, it's just gonna be horrible, and I don't want there to be any mold. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. I'm going to try soaking this one and see how this comes out. I'm going to set an alarm for like half an hour, but I'm going to wrap the threads around the bobbies. On the peacock one, I just had to cut the threads because they were so mangled and tangled, and to be fair, that's probably expected, but that was the reason why I did my first one using that project, because I had a huge amount of space all around the outside, and you know, whatever, if I can just work my threads in behind, you know, everything else, and I can just cut them. So let's see how this one goes. And this is the one I'll be able to do side by side. So this is where we are now. More this area here. So I'm just trying to get rid of all of the stray stitches, the rogue stitches, and then I'm just bringing everything down, and that's what I'm doing. I'm literally just bringing it down to, then parking, and then bringing it down to, and eventually it will be a big one. But yeah, this was all, I mean, not that you can see, but all down here, this was a real horrible brown colour. It just been ruined. So as you can see, I still have my grids, which is great. Yes, they are probably a little bit more faint than they were, but I can still see them, so I can still use those as a reference point. And that's the reason, that is pretty much the only reason why I use gridded fabric, is just for a reference point, just so I know that, oh, okay, so this is where this stitch is going, and this one should be on the edge. It should be like, you know, one from the edge and two from the bottom, and at least then I know that I'm in the right place. So I've had too much experience pre-gridded fabric where I just made so many mistakes. And I tell you now, I make so few mistakes now using gridded fabric that it's just, oh my goodness, it's definitely worth it. But yeah, so that's pretty, huh? So yeah, 18 count 2/1 full cross, 500 stitches on that one, and I'm at 22.44%. So I'm like a fifth of the way through it ish. So that's not too bad. So let's get rid of you. Okie dokie. Now the next one hasn't come out for a while, funnily enough. It is my Long Dog Sampler, 3 down 1 across. No, 1 down 3 across. I was almost right. This is the one that I saw last Christmassy time and I absolutely loved it. And I had a bit of a moment with this one when I first got this. One, because I dyed my own fabric. So I bought a 32 count fabric and I dyed it myself. And it pretty much, I think, went from a 32 to a 36 count. So my first thing that I wanted to do was use silks for you, a skein of silks for you in like a really beautiful mottled silvery colour. I think it was PR109, I'm not 100% sure. However, I received said silk, which is very beautiful, I might add, but I wanted to do 2/2, and oh my goodness me, it was just so rammed, so tight, bulky, horrible. So I thought, okay, well, I want to stay within the silver colour family, which is this colour, like a silvery colour, and you'll see in a minute why. So I went to Joann's or Michael's, one of the two, and I thought, okay, well, let's get the roll, not the roll, what's the word? Of 415. So that's the colour that I use, 415, and you can buy it in, I guess you'd call it like a big bobbin type thing. So I bought that one, and again, it was too thick. Now I did try it using 2/2, but also 1/2, and it just wasn't sitting right. I don't know, there was something about it that just, you know, when you just like really don't like something. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to go for it. I had some in stock anyway, some 415 threads, just CXC. And I thought, okay, well, let's, you know, I'm not going to lose anything here. So I had like 4 or 5 in stash anyway. And this one is a smallish project. This is 245 stitches by 187. So it's not massive. And I think there's like 16,000 stitches or something. So it's not a huge amount of project, and I definitely had enough skeins. Yeah, this is 16,000 stitches, and I definitely had enough skeins for what I needed to do. So I just bit the bullet and I just ended up doing it in CXC thread. And it's actually working out okay, to be honest. Oh, I've got my microphone all caught up. Yeah, it's working out okay. It's a bitch to stitch on, I'm not gonna lie. One of the reasons being is that it's just so small now, like so totally tiny. And 2, because this is my own hand dyed fabric, which I dyed like an aubergine colour, like a dark aubergine colour, it's so difficult to see the holes. So I now have to shine a light underneath it so I can see the holes properly. Otherwise I can't. And it is very slow going. It's just I'm not enjoying stitching on this, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I find it hard work. Now I know that when it's done it will look stunning and it will be worth it, but it's not a quick stitch because it's killing my eyes for a start, and I do wear glasses, but it's just fiddly and hard and long. So I did 505 stitches and I am at 5.87% on this one. And again, I can show the before here because this is a nice small one. So this is where I am now. Might have to do it back here then. So I think I just had this there. So this is new. So I'll be able to bring this up now. These are new. I think this is new. Can't even remember what I had there. I think I just had FR, if that. I'm not even sure. But yeah, so that's where we are on that one. But yeah, it's definitely, it's got to be like a 36. It's absolutely the holes. I mean, look at, you can't even see them. Look at them. I mean, I'm not being funny, but it just looks like a bed sheet. But where I've got the light shining in this way, I can actually see all of the holes. And it's definitely more like a 36, I reckon. If not a 38. Yeah, just, wow. Just a lot, just a lot. So, well, that is that one. 3 down, 1 across, or 1 down, 3 across. The next one I worked on is my Grace Phase 2, which is this one. Now, I'm at a close finish with this one. And my whip go board, because I'm so close to finishing, I wanted to finish it this year. So what I did is took the remaining stitches, I divided it by how many times it comes up on the whip go board, and then that's how many stitches I need to do on my whip go board in order to finish this year. So, Josephine Wall, it's a Heaven and Earth design piece, absolutely love this one. Now, we had the added advantage that this not only got soaked in the first time round, but it also got soaked the second time round. So this has been washed twice. Again, I will put a video in where this was like ruined the first time. I didn't even bother the second time round because I was like, oh, do you know, I'm so over this. Just bung it in the washing machine and get on with your life. Okay, so this is the next one. This is the one where I am concerned because I have almost finished this one. But as you can see all down here, it's filthy, horrible water. So, I mean, I clearly got something on it over here because I've scrubbed from before and all the grid lines have gone, but the grid lines seem to be staying in at the moment, so that's good. So let's put this one in the wash and see how this one comes out. So, this is where we are now. Again, I will try and put the before over here. We are so close to a finish. We worked down here. This is the area that worked. I'm stitching this on 18 count 2 over 1 full cross using CXC threads. Look how stunning the colours are. Are they not beautiful? Absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yes, really looking forward to this one being a finish this year. So I have to do, bear with, where are you going? I had to do, where are you? I've got 4 whip go boards, don't ask. 338 stitches, and I think I did more than that actually. I did 375 and I'm at 91.62%. Now the reason I only did a small amount on this is because this must have been just like a fill-in, because I've been so busy this month. This was probably one where I did some stitching in the morning on one project to fulfill my whip go board, and then I was like, right, in the afternoon or in the evening I will smash this one out because I only have to do 300 and something stitches. So this is probably one where I did another project in the same day, which is why this one hasn't had a lot of stitching. But next time round I will dedicate 1 or 2 days to it, and I'll see if I can smash out a good, you know, 500-600 stitches on it. Maybe at least double the amount that I need in order to finish it, because if I can finish it, then if this comes up on my whip go board again, then I can put another project in its place. So that will get that one going, you know. Well, that's the method in my madness anyway. That's what I think. That's what I think will happen. So 18 count 2/1 on that one. Full cross CXC threads. Okay, so you know what? It's not all bad that we're having this rain, because my arena, it's a specialist stand and it needs like 5,000 gallons of water daily for it to be rideable. I mean, yeah. So it's missing 2 elements. One element is missing is fines. So this, I've got an angulated sand. There is so much, you would not believe how much science there is in riding arenas. Now, you've got to protect the horse. The arena has got to be, the surface has got to be stable. You've got to protect the tendons and the ligaments. And there is so much science behind arenas. So I've got a sand that's similar, but not the same, but similar to beach sand. So if you can imagine, just going off on a complete tangent right now. If you can imagine having a beach that is not near the water, or, you know, the same beach, but you've got the bit that doesn't go anywhere near the water, or the water doesn't go over it, over the sand. And so you've got like the sandy bit. So if you can imagine trying to run on dry sand, how difficult is it to run on dry sand? It's actually really, really difficult. Now, you take the same sand, because it is the same sand, that is constantly being waved upon with the water lapped. And you see how easy it is to walk on that. I mean, you can sprint on that, no problem at all. So that's the same situation that I've got with my arena. Now, I haven't got water over there at the moment. My irrigation still isn't in. That's going to cost me like 6 grand. So yeah, that was a conversation I had to have with my dad. So the only way that I could explain it to my dad is, because he's like a scientist as well. I said, look, Dad, look, I'm going to explain it to you simply so you will understand, but also because, I mean, he's intelligent, so he understands anyway, but so he can see where I'm coming from. I said, imagine picking up some dry sand in your hand and rolling it into a ball, okay, which you can't do anyway because it's got no stability in there because it's got no moisture, and then drop it at height. It just does this, doesn't it? It just completely disintegrates. Now, take sand that is wet. And this is the reason why you can do sand castles, you know, on wet sand. So take wet sand, roll it up into a ball. You can get a proper ball with wet sand, and then drop it at the same height. And instead of it just doing this, it does this, doof. And then you get a little tiny bit of disbursement. Now, if you can imagine a horse's hoof, the stability that it needs with the wet sands over the stability that it doesn't have with a dry, it makes it incredibly unrideable. In fact, I don't even use it when it's totally dry. The best time for me to ride in my arena is after we've had a massive downpour. So, even though the rain has completely and utterly ruined my cross stitch projects, it is required and needed, and it is loved because my arena is fully functional right now. So yeah, there are plans to get the system, sprinkler system over there. We've got to have like heavy duty sprinkler systems that I've got, like, I think 12 sprinklers going around the outside of the arena, and they've got to be like proper heavy duty with a lot of power. So they've got to go like 60 to 70 foot, have that kind of range. So yes, they're going to be expensive, and it's going to be expensive sending it from my well, because I'm on a well. I'm not on state water, no, county water, whatever it is, state water. So yeah, and it needs a good 4,000 to 5,000 gallons of water. So I spoke to the well guy, and what we decided is if I run my sprinkler system overnight on a timer, they can run for 3 to 4 hours and it won't cause an issue. And by the time I'm awake, the waterbed or the water would have risen enough again. So I would have been able to replenish the water that I've put on my arena. But How crazy is that? Like 4,000 to 5,000 gallons of water is what my arena needs in order to make it rideable. So the plan is to get fines in there, which makes it extra stable, but also get this kind of fibre stuff you can put on it, which will retain the moisture, so then I don't have to water it so much. But yeah, so I know this rain is an absolute pain in the butt from a cross-stitch perspective, but actually from being able to use my riding arena, it's really good. And I totally went on a tangent back then. Oh my goodness. It's quite interesting though, when you don't really know about stuff like this. There is, I mean, I think people just think, oh, you just build an arena and then you just chuck in some sand, doesn't matter what sand, and then you just get on with it. You just don't. There is so much science in the surface, and you know how deep it is, and you know all the layers that are pertaining to that to support, you know, the top layer surface and things like that. So there is it's quite interesting to anyone that's interested. What have I done with that? Hang on one sec. There it is. I just need to put my thread away. Yeah. But anyway, okay, so we've reached the new start. Now, you may have heard last month that I purchased this project, Vivsta, and I got this from Etsy. Now this is the range right now. This is like massively in fashion. Everyone is getting their Quaker flag, and I just love this one. I really love it. I decided to switch up the colours. So the original called for, I think it was like 926 was the blue. I can't even remember. It's not even on here. I can't even remember what the colours were now. No, because it's not on this front page. It's on the bottom. So I wasn't a massive fan of the colours of the original. So also this grey, which I think was a 726, is really light. And I wanted it to show up. So I decided to do this one using, and I did show you this last month, but I don't know if I received them yet. So this has got 4 colours on it. So the big red cross is in colourway 321, which is this one. And then the blue is colourway 312. And then the bit in between, so you've got all of these, like these lines, that's 939. So that's still the same called for colour. And then the grey, which I think was 726 or something in that range, but it was so light. And actually, before making the decision about this colour that I'm using, I watched a lady, and I think she was the one that started all this. Caroline Stitches, I can't remember. And I don't want to tag her in this video because I don't want her to feel like I'm berating her work, because her work is stunning, but it's just something I noticed on hers is that when she was doing her work, there is, I don't know if you can see, there are all these little areas here where you've got like the white, okay? So really delicate areas where so like here you can see in the blue and you can see the red, you've got like the white that shows through. Now, I couldn't see any of that definition in the piece that she was stitching. So that made me think, okay, well, maybe I need to go slightly darker on the grey. And I decided to go for colourway 2. So that's the colour that I've gone for. And it's rose to me, so they're not CXC thread. It feels exactly the same as the CXC thread, but they're rose to me. And I'm stitching this one on 32 count, 2/2. I did 840 stitches. I was just like so in the mood for doing this one. And I'm at 1.73% already. Now, that is what it looks like. Now, doesn't that look amazing that you can actually see, see if I can do this without looking like a weirdo. You can actually see the definition. Without it being too dark, you can see the definition in the white. So if I hold this back, like here, you're still going to get the same effect as this, because actually it looks like the same colour. However, you're going to get the definition because you can actually see the colour difference, because there is a big colour difference. And luckily this was one of the ones that wasn't ruined. This was just on top. So yeah. But look how lovely that is. So I'm really glad that I started that. And this is quite quick at stitching up, because this is a 2/2 and it's just so, I've got this one on Pattern Keeper. I bought the PDF and I just find it so easy to stitch on this one, and you don't really have to think about too much. There's not loads of colour changes, you know, you can just take a colour and you can run with it, and that's what I really love. So this one I think will stitch up quite quick, and it is a bit massive. It's a bit bloody huge actually, to be honest, but you know what, we'll get there, we'll get there. So yeah, that is where I am right now. So I'm enjoying that one. I am enjoying that one. Okay, so that is the Flag Quaker, and like I said, you can get that on Etsy. They're not that expensive, and definitely worthwhile. And you know what, you don't even have to do red, white and blue if you've got a red, white and blue flag. You can really like mix up the colours. I've seen a lot of Union Jack flags that are in like a hot pink. They seem to be the rage right now, so you can really, you know, mix up the colours and do just whatever you like. So the next one that I worked on is Blue Rhapsody. Now this one is a funny one, and I'm going to tell you why. She says, where even is it? Where is it? Bear with me 1 second. Oh, goodness me. Right, I just need to put you on hold for a second because I have no idea where it even is. Bear with me 1 sec. Okay, so this is one that got really affected the first time that I had the big flood issue. And I had to do, I think like, I had to work on it for, right, if you don't know holes, just look, 1 second. 3 and 24. Oh, okay, I've just got Blue Rhapsody, so that just means I've just got to work on it for a day, I guess, or 2 days. So, the good thing about this is, and there is a silver lining, is that actually, when I took this one out to wash, I very quickly realised that I was stitching it the wrong way round. So instead of my fabric being like that way, it was that way. And I had stitched it too far, actually it doesn't matter because it's square, but I know that I'd stitched it too far over, because when I went to count the stitches, because I thought, oh, that's quite far over, let me just double check to see that I've got enough fabric. I didn't. I had literally ½ an inch spare, and because I want to frame all of my stitching, I needed more than that, and I didn't actually have a huge amount done. So for me, restarting this one wasn't a massive issue, but I'm so glad I did, because I bought a big, I think this is called Silvery Moon, this fabric, but I bought like a massive amount of it so that I could, you know, I had the fabric there already to redo it. The skeins that I'm using are Classic Colourworks, and I'm using the light blue, which is Delft blue, I believe, and then the dark one is Blue Jeans, and I got these from 123 Stitch. So these are the colours that I'm using. So there are 2. So I had to get this to where it was before I then worked on it. So I did, and I think I did a couple of days on this, because whilst I was working on it, I really actually quite enjoyed it. Now, if I can find a previous, because Dunbat here didn't take a picture of it, did she, before she threw it away? So if I can find a previous on this one, I will show you a previous. However, get a look at it now. I know for a fact that I just had some of the butterfly done, and I had some of this bit done here, and I don't think I'd gone all the way down here, but this time round I've started on the letters. How beautiful is this? And this is stitched on 32 count, 2/2, on this beautiful greyish fabric, which I think just really makes the blues pop on this one. I absolutely love it. And this is going to go into my spare room, like a guest room, I guess, when I actually have a roof, which would be good. So yeah, the blue Rhapsody is by Rosewood Manor, and that's what it will look like. I think I did show you earlier, but it might have just been a quick flick. But yeah, I think it's really pretty. And there is, where is it? There is a part in here that you can do as a bookmark, and I just thought that would be so pretty. So on the back, you've got like another couple of stitching. You've got that one, and then you've got these. And then inside, it says you can do one of these as a bookmark, which I think is, yeah, here we go. Stitch the vines as a bookmark. How cute is that? So you know what? I might just do that. I might just stitch that as a bookmark. So yeah, so you get quite a few projects in one with this. It's definitely worth a purchase. I'm not sure how much it cost. It wasn't overly expensive. It wasn't overly expensive, but it's well worth the money. Well worth the money. Now, the next one I worked on was All Hallows Eve. This is the second to last one. And this is the first project that I picked up that was soaking wet, and I realised it was ruined. And because I'd only done 200 stitches on this one, I restarted it. And then I realised actually after I started washing all of my fabrics, all of my projects, that I just thought, you know what, Holly, you don't have to throw this away. Now you've restarted it anyway, just take off, you know, the start of this and reuse the fabric, which is what I'm going to do anyway. So I did restart this one, which is a bit of a pain, but it is what it is. So this again is the one that I had to get it to where it was before I then did my stitch count. This was a full coverage Fanatics. So I've collaborated bear with me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. What's going on with my hair? So I just wanted to double check what the colour was for this month, March. I thought I knew it was between yellow and orange, but I wasn't 100% sure. So yeah, I collaborate with a lady called Brandy, who we were really disappointed to find out this year that full coverage Fanatics were not doing a stitch by colour. And so what we do now is between us, she spins a spinner thing with all the colours, and then what comes up is a colour that we stitch. So last month was, February, this month, sorry, was purple. So that was where All Hallows Eve came in. And then last month, I believe, was either white or red. I want to say white. Or was it red? It was one of those colours anyway, and that's the reason why I'm going to show you my next piece in a second. But All Hallows Eve was my full coverage Fanatics stitch by colours, and I had to do 1,000 stitches on this one. The artwork is by Donna Gelsinger. I don't know, I've lost myself today, and it's been charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I love this one. So yes, like I said, I had to get this to where it was before I could do the extra 500 stitches, because there's no point in doing 1,000 stitches, because there's no point in doing the 1,000 stitches and then you actually haven't done 1,000 stitches because you've only done 800, because 200 was done from last time. So this one was the one I said it was affected really badly as well, and I'm stitching this one on 20 count 1/1 full cross using the CXC called for colours in CXC, and I'm at 0.44%, and I did 1,119 stitches, but that was after my 200 had already been done, if that made sense. So I did my 200, then I did the rest of it. So that's where we are now. Very pretty. Love this one. And the reason this is 1,000 is because it's quite a lot of bulk at the moment, a lot of bulk colour. I obviously haven't got the last one to show you because I didn't take a picture of it, did I? I don't know. It's in a box somewhere because I kind of cut off what I'd already done. So basically on the last one, I'd literally just done those two, 1, 2 here. That's all I'd done. So it wasn't a huge restart. It is what it is. But yeah, so 1/1 on 20 counts is that one. And again, I really, for me, I just need the gridded fabric because it just makes such a difference. Real difference. There's nothing worse than getting to a place and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's not the right colour and that shouldn't be there. And then you just think there are so many mistakes. It's unreal. So last but by all means not least is my full coverage fanatics that was January that I needed to make up for in February because I didn't complete it. And I was just so busy in January, so I just didn't have the time. So this is the one that was pulled. Like I said, it was either white or red, but it doesn't matter because there's enough of it, of both colours in this one. So this is the ornament Santa and Frosty, and it is a quick stitch, as you can tell. Well, no, it's not quick stitch, it's an ornament, isn't it, Holes? Sorry. It's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Donna Gelsinger. And again, this is one that I've not had this feeling for much in the past, but I was smashing it with this one. I was actually supposed to do 2 days on another project, which I'll explain in a minute in my plans. But I decided that, you know what, instead of working a day on this one and smashing out 500 stitches and doing the 2 days on the other project, I was going to use those days to work on this one. And I'm so glad I did, because I worked on this one and I did 1,483 stitches, and I'm at 7.50%. Now this is stitched on 20 count 1/1. Get rid of the flet, and because this is a small one, I can show you like both sides. So this is where I'm at now. Now, as you can see, some more of this colour is done, and like all the greys in here. And I'm going to just show you a close up. It's very difficult to see this one because we've got so many whites and things. 3765 and I think, no, 3865 and B5 200 is prevalent in this one. So yeah, a lot more pinks and reds in this area. This area here has started to show some resemblance of this top bit here, which is where his hat is. So yeah, we are starting to see some colour come through, which is really grand because it's such a boring piece with just being, you know, whites and greys. But as you can see here, I've lost the gridding because I must have got something on this and washed it, or not washed it, but scrubbed it. And that's what I didn't want to do with my projects, because you can see the gridding's gone, but it's not an issue because you won't even see, well, it will all be hidden by stitching anyway. But yeah, the only difference is the gridding's gone. So I haven't bothered re-gridding it, I've just left it as is. But yeah, that mark there, that area does really, does really annoy me. But it is what it is. So best stick that back in there. But yeah, this is Ornament Santa, and I just was loving stitching this. I did have all of my parked threads, I think they were up here, which I just worked down. And yeah, just stitch them in. And like Paris, again, I'm going down by 2 and then moving across and down by 2, and it all just, that's how this one will work into fruition. So that is the last project that I stitched on. I don't know what time we're on at the moment, because I think I had to stop this and go back into something else. So my camera's reset at 7 minutes, which is fine, So plans. This month was 10 and 1 on Whipgo boards. So actually this is quite a good month, because in a lot of the numbers that were pulled, the two Whip Goes are the same projects, which means that I can really get my teeth into some projects. So on this one, 10 is Peacock Love, and 1 is Peacock Love. Where's 10? 10 and 10. 10 and 1. So again, this one is over 50% complete. So I did the same that I did with Grace Face. I looked at how many times it's going to go on my Whip Go board, and then I divided by the amount of stitches that I've got left. And that is the amount of stitches I need to do each time in order to get finished this year. So, Peacock Love. Peacock Love, Lion, Stormy. As I've got everything here, bear with 1 second. I'm just going to go and get my project so I can show you where I am with them. Okay, so Peacock Love is this quick stitch by Josephine Wall. This is part of a bigger project. So I'm working on this one. So I've got to do 666. So double that. And that's what I've got to do this month, because it's come up twice. So this is one that got ruined the first time that I got the flood, which is the reason why it's out of its Q-snap. And first time round, instead of just soaking it, I didn't tell you, did I put this tub on a spin, and all my park threads ended up getting completely jumbled up and mixed up and knotted and everything. So I had to cut my park threads. So when I work on this next, the threads that are in there, I'll either, do a bit more stitching with them and then cut them off, or I'll just, run them at the back of my stitching and then just cut them off. So this is where I'm at so far. And as you can tell, look, see, I lost a load of my park threads. So this one is at, I can't even remember what this is at. I can tell you actually. At the moment, this one is at 64.45%. And where is my thing? 12, 13. Okay, so for me to do my the amount of stitches that I've got to do this month, I've got to do 1,302. No, 1,332. Oh my goodness, I can't read my writing. 1,332 stitches. And it's raining again. So now, naturally, I'm really nervous that my RV is going to flood again. So I've got to work on that one, which is fine. So that will go into the Q-snap as I work on it. So I think at the moment, because it takes so long to put all of my projects in Q-snaps, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in Q-snaps as and when I need them. And then I'm just going to put the rest in boxes. So that's the first one I need to work on. And so that's that one. The next one is Stormy. Now I don't have Stormy with me, but I have got a picture of Stormy. And again, I've got to work on this twice. So this is going to get, so this Stormy has come up twice on my non-full coverage on sampler. So one there and one there, Stormy 500 stitches. So I've got to do 1,000 stitches on Stormy, but that's okay because he's not come out for a while. So this is Stormy, and the Critter Valley artwork's from Critter Valley, and it is a Heaven and Earth design. And this is on my own hand-dyed fabric, but you'll see that next month because I'll have to work on it. And the next one I'll be working on is Ornament A Stitch in Time. Where is that one? Here. I've got to do 500 stitches on this one. Artwork is by Amy Stewart. Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm stitching this on 18 count, 2/1. And again, this is one that was ruined last time, so it got a wash, and then it got ruined this time, so it got another wash. Goodness me. Here we go. That's where we are so far. So that's quite nice. With this one, as you can see, all of my park threads here are a bit jumbled, but I'll sort those out. But I decided this time round to keep the bobbin, whatever it is, in, so that my threads wouldn't get trashed. But also, I just soaked this one. I didn't spin it in my wash machine properly. It just got a soak. So you know what, that washing powder is so good, or washing detergent, whatever you want to call it, that all you need to do is soak it. You don't need to do anything else. Now, if you want the grid lines to come out, you need to soak it in hot water. So I would, and the threads are fine with hot, because I mean, I put a 90 degrees iron over my my fabric when I was ironing it all dry. So I'm sure if the flosses had an issue with heat, it would have an issue with heat under the iron, because the iron is way hotter than any water would get to. So what I would suggest, if you wanted to get the grid lines out, obviously I didn't, which is the reason why I wanted to wash it in cold water, is I would just soak it in hot water. Not like mediocre hot, not lukewarm hot, hot water, not boiling, but hot to the touch, like really hot to the touch. And I would probably soak it for about half an hour, and I'm sure the grid lines would come out doing it that way. And I'm probably going to use the same fabric stuff because I've got it, A, anyway, and B, because it's gentle. Now, it just means that it works as well in cold as it does hot, with saying that it's a cold wash. I can't imagine that it wouldn't work with a hot wash at all. I'm sure it will work fine. So that one came up on my Whip Go this month and got wet. This month survived this one, but got soaking wet last time, and it's a Sweet Life. Here we go. This again is an Amy Stewart one. This is a quick stitch. Well, these don't feel very quick when you're stitching them. Love the colours in this one, which is why I chose it. I'm stitching this one 20 count 1/1. This one is upside down. It's being stitched on 20 counts 1/1, and this was completely ruined. I mean, there was just so much crap on this one all the way down here that I had this massive line of like black. Okay, so this is the one that's probably the most horrendous. Unfortunately, this is my beautiful Story Keep. Look at this. Oh, this is just a nightmare. And I have like a zillion parks threads on this. The bobbins don't stay in. So I think what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and soak this one first. I'm going to soak it in there. I think I did say that about the other one, but I did end up spinning it for a bit. But with this one, I just want to soak this because I had to cut my threads on the other project as well, which was the Grey's Face 2, and if I can help it, I just don't want to be cutting my threads. So I am going to put this in there. I'm going to leave it to soak for like half an hour and see if this comes out. I'm praying that it does. This one may take a few rounds to get clean, but I mean, I haven't serged the sides on this, but I know that I ran down with some clear nail varnish. I can feel on this one. That's why this one hasn't gone like weird at the ends. But look at the state of this. Look, now I am really happy that my grid lines are staying in, because these are being washed on super cold water. Okay, so cold tap water. I got a special fabric washing, they're capsules that work on super cold water for this reason. I do not want my grid lines coming out. I'm trying to preserve them. So this is the next one. As soon as this one's done, I will bring it out and we can have a look at this one. So yeah, this one got washed as well, but as you can see, they just come out smashing, haven't they? They've come out really well. So sorry, yeah, 20 count 1/1. So that's where I am with this one. So I need to do 500 on this one, and I think I might do a bit more than that. I'll see how I feel. I think I'm going to stitch on this one today, because it's such a beautiful, happy piece of work that it just makes me, I just need some colour in my life, really. You want to go out? Okay, give me 1 second. The boss is calling. Okay, so he certainly wanted to go out, didn't he? That was Garfield. Oh, I'm definitely missing cat flaps amongst other things with this. I'm gonna get my cats one of those specialized cat flaps that is it works with a collar. So if they've got a specialized collar and the cat flap, it's like a chip, it recognizes a chip, then it will open, and you know, it will open to let them out and it will open to let them in. And then the great thing is that you can work them with your phone, so that if you decide that actually they're in and they're having dinner and you don't want them going out again, you can lock the cat flap with your phone, so you can like demobilize almost their collars so that they can't go out again, which is good. But I've got nowhere to put a cat flap in here. So where was I can't even remember if I showed you this or not. 20 count 1/1, Amy Stewart. That's where we are. So I definitely want to work on this one a little bit more, 100%. And so that is that one. Oh my goodness. This paper ends up looking like rat's tails after it's been in use for a few years. Get rid of that. So that is that one. And then last, but by all means not least, or actually second to last, Bountiful Bookshelf came up on my Whip Go in February, but this is the one that got taken over by Santa. But not a bad thing, because it came up twice on my, this one, it came up twice on my Whip Go board, so I've got to do 1,000 stitches on this. Now, given that it came up last month, I might see if I can do like maybe 2,000 stitches, because it does need some work. So the reason that I decided to do the work on the Santa and leave this is because I was working on it anyway, and I was doing a big stretch. So I thought, well, it makes sense, doesn't it, just to kind of do an even bigger stretch and just do last month's Whip Go numbers in this one, just do it. So that's what I've decided to do. So that one is going to get a good amount of work on, and it was one of the pieces that was the most ruined. It was black. It was black. And I can't even tell you how upset I was, because I worked on this for far too long, way longer than I care to even imagine. I think I started this in, I don't know, 2019. I think I started this when we got flooded out at home, and then before COVID, I think is that 2019? I can't even remember now. But I have done, I'm almost at I'm almost at 3 and a bit pages. Let me see if I can, this one came out so good. There is just so much fabric in this, it's unbelievable. And I thought I would show you this one because it's not in a Q-snap right now, which is like a pain in the bum, because this is the biggest pain in the bum to get in a Q-snap. So that is where it is at the moment. I don't even know, did I even, I'm going mad. Did I even show you what it looks like? I can't even remember. Bear with. Let me just get rid of these threads. I must have done because it's up there. So there we are. 18 count 2/1. And if we want a close up, I'll give you, this is like a bloomin' duvet. Look at that. Just beautiful. I absolutely love this. Really, really beautiful. Yes, I know I still haven't finished. Yes, I also know that I've gone on to the next book, but the plan is that, I think the plan was that I kind of do everything from, can't even hold this. So big I can't even hold it. One sec. So from the top, making sure that all of that from the top was done and across, but clearly that only went for this book, but not this book or this book. And then I obviously changed my mind and was like, sod it, let's just go for it. But yeah, this needs to be put into a Q-snap as well. But no, I mean, yes, it's been an absolute pain in the bum that my cross stitch got wet and got ruined, and then I had to like clean it. And it's been a pain in the butt that it happened again. This one survived. This one survived second time round because it wasn't in a Q-snap, so it was in a box. But actually, I feel way more confident when thinking about washing any of my stuff, because I know that the colours aren't going to run, that I'm going to have no problems ironing it, that it's going to come out looking amazing. So yes, I know it was a pain in the butt, but silver lining is it was okay. It was okay. It wouldn't have been okay if it was proper ruins and I couldn't get any of the stains out and I had to have put it on a hot wash and all of my gridding would have gone. But as you can tell, like it's not super dark, but the gridding's still there. Oh, goodness me. So that's not too bad. So the last one is my full coverage Fanatics that got pulled this month, which was orange, which is I just needed to check. And I'm actually quite excited because I haven't done any work on this one for a while. Oh, this one hasn't come out for a long time actually. And this is instant cross stitch. It says Handsome Male Lion. I love this. I mean, yeah, it's not the best print copy. I'm sure it will look better when it's, look at that. Isn't that not beautiful? I can't wait to get some of this done. So I've got to do, I think 500 stitches on that one. But these are the colour threads. I just love it. Absolutely love it. Looking forward to working on this one. Absolutely looking forward to it. Cannot wait. I might just do 1,000 stitches on that one. I don't know. You know what? I might work on this one first because I'm feeling it. So I might just work on that one first and then sort everything out after. But that is everything for today. Oh gosh, I'm not going to bore you with what's been going on. Not really. I've been to some events. I've been to some clinics. I sold some turmeric. Obviously I got my Arena finish, which is great. Well, it was great until I realised it was unusable when it's not been raining. Honestly. I need to tidy this mess that's down here now. This is a nightmare. So I think what I'm going to do is I really need to do the whip parade. I need to get that done. So I think I'm going to make myself a drink. And I think I'm going to get my whip parade done. It's just not going to get done otherwise, is it? And I need to get everything back in Q-snaps and sorted out and this, that and the other. And I know this whip parade's going to take me forever. But this is the best time to do it, I think. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just get it done so everyone can see what's going on. And yeah, that'd be good. Everyone loves a good whip parade, don't they? You know what? I have to even write down what my projects are at the moment because I can't even remember like what half my projects are. Some of them, the ones that are on Pattern Keeper are easy because I just go into Pattern Keeper and I'm like, blah, 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 like that's how many, you know. But not everything is on Pattern Keeper. So I've got a Mirabilia, I've got a Quaker, I've got like an Autumn Jumble. You know, some projects are in like Q-snaps and out. Some projects are in bags, not bags, but Ziploc things. So, you know, unless I really, really remember what they are, I'm going to forget. So I need to write down all of my projects so I can make sure that I've not forgotten any. There isn't an awful lot that I've got that isn't on Pattern Keeper though, because I really dislike not working on Pattern Keeper, so I will make sure that I don't buy any that aren't PDF or Pattern Keeper compatible for that reason, unless I absolutely love the project. So yes, that's me, and I'm going to love you and leave you. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. And if you feel like this is a channel that you would like to subscribe to, I would be more than happy for you to do so. Please comment, ask questions. I always come back to you on anything. And yeah, have a lovely stitching day. Thanks so much, guys, and I will see you next month in my next video. Put my teeth back in. I'll catch you later. Bye.